please, 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 please subscribe. That means so much to me. It helps me so much. I'm trying to build a career here with you. Watch me evolve. Just please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it just warms my heart. So thank you, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shannon Confidential. And Shannon Confidential is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. It's about how we're all the same, no matter what we're going through. Stress at work, stress at home, financial issues. We all have problems. We all have great times. We're all going through stress of the current time. We're all just trying to figure out our way through everything. And no matter what you're going through, whether it be with family or with work or personally, just know you're not the only one out there. Life is life, and it follows all of us. It doesn't matter your color, your religion, your sex, your age. We're all in this together. So this podcast is just a way to have a conversation about different things that happen in life that we can all relate to. So in today's podcast, we are going to talk about sleep, or more or less the science behind it. Now, if you heard any of the other podcasts, I love anything that has to do with science, and I certainly love anything that has this in the corner, National Geographic. So of course, when I was out shopping and I saw National Geographic, learn the science of sleep, I thought, I have got to read this. And I'm glad I did. Because here's the thing. Everybody that I hear from talks to me about, how can I eat healthier? How can I be physically healthier? How could I everybody wants to do improvements in their lives, but they don't realize, and at least to the degree, how much sleep has to do with that. And it's absolutely incredible what I've learned. So I will link you up to this magazine so you can read it yourself, but I wanted to bring you some of the more important points. It goes extensively in the article with National Geographic, but I'm going to just bring to you the parts that I think are really relevant. So basically, what sleep is something that's been evolving over the past 3.5 billion years. In many, many ways, it's still a biological mystery. The discovery of sleep actually started in the ancient times with Aristotle. He actually noticed that people were getting very tired after a large meal. Guess not much has changed. Look at us after Thanksgiving or a Christmas meal. At least I could talk about my family. It's like everybody goes on this deep slumber. So he noticed that, that sleep necessity after everybody ate. And then in 1916 to 17, an epidemic, go figure, swept through Europe, and it was the encephalitis lethargia. They called it the sleeping disease. And it killed almost 1 million people. And when they studied the bodies, they found out that the damage was to the front of the midbrain, which is the top of your brainstem. And so they started to discover different things with sleep and the lack of it, because the lethargia was causing insomnia. Insomnia, as you'll see when I start going through this, has such horrible, horrible effects on all of your body. And this is actually quite funny. In 1929, the psychiatrist Hans Berger, he was thrown from a horse. And then shortly after, he was very seriously injured. And shortly after that, he received a telegraph from his sister. She was very concerned for his health. Well, he thought, oh my gosh, he's a psychiatrist. There was like some type of immediate mental telepathy that his sister had, that he had been injured. So he goes into the study of mental telepathy, and by doing that, he was recording brain scans, and of course, which was the EEG, the electroencephalograph. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. But it was the first recording of clear evidence of electrical activity in the brain. So it's kind of like a lot of things in science. He stumbled upon it on accident. Thank God he did, because that's when he realized, and believe it or not, our brains are at times more active at night than they are during the day, with the list of things I said that sleep does. And a lot of this really affects our brain health. And the way it works, and I'll try to break this down for you, we have a chemical called orexin, and that builds up all day in your brain to try to, once it gets great enough, it starts to let you know that you need to go to sleep. And then we've all heard of melatonin, and then melatonin hormone is released around dusk, and it's by the pineal gland that cues your body that it's time to get rest. So we have one hormone that builds up during the day that lets us know it's time to sleep, but another hormone that kicks in that says, okay, body, it's time to shut down. Now, the thalamus is the brain's doorway. Now, think of it that way. It sends signals and to all your senses, except for smell, to your body and your brain cortex all day. When the thalamus kicks in, it shuts that door. So it slows down the brain waves, letting you know that you need to go to sleep. It's quite amazing the way your brain, it's just amazing, I got to tell you. And then our circadian rhythm, and it's your sleep-wake cycle. So people say, you wake up at dawn, you go to sleep at night. Yes, you're supposed to get 7 to 9 hours as an adult of sleep at night. Now, this is your rhythm. This takes care of your body temperature, your mental agility, your moods, your athletic performance, your appetite, your sexual desire, and everything depends on this rhythm. So please don't ever use it as an excuse, because that's just not fair, but saying, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm just so tired, that's actually legit, but that means you got to get more rest, because, who wants to say no? So when all of this rhythm and all of these things are attributed to how much rest you get, you start to realize, remember if you had kids, or when you were a kid, or last kid you saw in the store, and they had that absolute temper tantrum, well, besides for possibly just being a not well-behaved child, a lot of that has to do with sleep. They just need to sleep. You ever get hangry? You get like a little angry when you're hungry, or you're crabby when you're tired. Well, all of that is absolutely the effect of lack of sleep. And it really, really affects every single one of us. Now, your rhythm, your circadian rhythm, is not necessarily dictated by daylight. So people think, oh, I sleep during the day and then I'm awake at night, or I'm awake at night, sleep. It's different for everybody, especially if you're a shift worker. Some people work at night and they sleep during the day. You set your own rhythm. It's not a standard. So just keep that in mind. And the chemicals in our body release daily, like adenosine, which I'm sure I'm going to say wrong, and melatonin, and these bolster our circadian rhythm. I'm sorry if I keep saying these words wrong. I am not a scientist. So here's how your body clock works. Your body is governed by a biological clock in your brain. All right, everything's talking. It's in a tiny region, and again, I'm going to try to say this word correctly. Your suprachiasmatic nucleus. All right, you can look it up. I'll link you to it. And that does all the controlling of your temperature, your blood pressure, your alertness, your intestinal activity. So all of these things, just like when I did the podcast about stress, your body is constantly talking to each other, letting you know, getting you ready for sleep, getting you ready to wake up. Your body needs this. It's trying to tell you need this, only sometimes we fight it. And most people are mentally alert late morning and early evening, and you're sleepiest in the afternoon. I know a lot of people like that. That afternoon nap, wouldn't that be great? But we all can't do it. But that is how most of us humans, adult humans, work. And athletes, they have found that their peak performance is in the late afternoon to early evening. So if you're doing, know your peak performance time, whether it be a presentation or you're an athlete or you're a performer of any kind. Know your body's cycle, know your rhythm to know when you're going to peak and be the best at what that is that you're doing. And if you know your body's rhythms, you know so much more. You know when to do the presentation, when to compete, when even if you know your body's rhythms and you're really in tune to yourself, which is not difficult to do, you just have to pay attention. Your body's already telling you. It even can be affected by taking medications at the best time for your body to produce them. So this is pretty crazy interesting. And when your rhythms, when they're out of sync, a perfect example of that is jet lag. If you've ever flown, either it be cross country or from one side of the United States to the other where there's a time difference, boy, do you feel it. 24, 48 hours, sometimes even a week later. And jet lag totally messes with that rhythm. And certain things to avoid jet lag, if anybody's planning on going on a trip anytime soon, probably not. But when you are, here's some helpful hints. Adjust your schedule by 1 hour each night before your trip. So either stay up later, go to bed, or whatever it is to go to put yourself in sync with the time zone you're going to be at. Avoid, now this one's going to be hard for a few of us, especially at the airport. Avoid caffeine and alcohol on your flight. Easier said than done, but if you do, you will have a better adjustment to your rhythms in that other time zone. And when you arrive, expose yourself to bright light. Now, your body does sense the light, and it does sense it as daylight. Brighter light in the morning, and then wear sunglasses in the afternoon. Start to teach, you got to kind of trick your body a little bit. And then adjust to the local time as quickly as possible. So if it's the middle of the afternoon and you're dead tired, really, really, really do your best to try to stay up, because it's all about your rhythm. And there are 5 stages of sleep. All right, 1 through 4 are non-REM, which the rapid eye movement. And 1 is you start to slide into that deep sleep, and your wild and chaotic brain during the day, they start to ease up just slightly. And stage 2, you start that light sleep, that relaxing sleep. And then that's when you start to fall into 3, which is your slow wave sleep. You're just kind of all going down and getting all zen and happy and all snuggly in bed. And then 4, you're going into that really deep, increasingly deep sleep. And then 5, REM sleep. That's rapid eye movement sleep. And this is where we dream. And this usually comes about 90 minutes into falling asleep. And your body, believe it or not, and I did not know this, your body repeats this cycle 4 to 6 times a night. You go up and then slowly back down, and up and slowly back down. And of course, that has to do with the fact of how many times you wake up to go to the bathroom and all that other stuff. So you just really want to put yourself in the best sleep situation so you can really go through these sleep cycles, because in each one of these cycles, your body is doing some amazing, amazing things to prepare you for the next day. And when you're falling asleep, sometimes you have those hallucinations of you're falling or you're flying, your sense of touch or smell as you drift off to sleep. That's normal. That's part of drifting off to sleep. And you have these spindles, and these spindles, they're pops of electrical energy that helped you protect your sleep from being woken up from outside noises. So these spindles go on in your brain to try to, I don't know, keep you occupied. So if there's sounds in the house, you can sleep through them and stay asleep and follow those stages of sleep. And the people with the most spindles really, really work and really, really get to sleep, have the best retention of motor skills learned the previous day. And yes, I will go into this with you. Everything you learn during the day, your body processes in your sleep. That's why, people, that old cliche, let me sleep on it. That is so true. You can come up with the best decisions, or you think better when you're awake the next day, or sleeping on something you learned and all of a sudden you have a brand new idea the next day. That actually is not coincidental. That's exactly what your brain is doing. That's what it's supposed to do. So now this is what I really found interesting. If you see my last podcast where, or not my last one, but a previous one where I talk about things that go bump in the night and that black mist that I had in my bedroom and that my daughter saw and everything else. Here's a fun fact for you. Night terrors occur during stage 3 of sleep, and these are not nightmares. Night terrors are very, very different, because sometimes, especially if you might be woken up yourself by this, but certainly if you have someone in the bed, and poor Matthew has had to, I shouldn't say this, but has had to wake me up and settle me down. But you can be heard, sometimes you can be heard screaming or yelling in your sleep, or thrashing around, or even sometimes sleepwalking. I've never had that, thank God. God only knows what would happen with my luck, but sleepwalking does occur during this stage 3 of the cycle. The weirdest part is the cause is unknown, and you toss and turn during this time about 16 to 48 times per night. I thought that was incredible. If you just laid there and flipped back and forth 16 to 48 times, that's exhausting. But nonetheless, our bodies do it. The elderly, on the other hand, they only do it 2 times per hour. So you would think that they actually slept better, but they really don't. And that's a whole nother story, dealing with any illnesses they have, or if they're living at home or living in a home where they're getting taken care of. All of that changes with lighting and medicine and machinery. So, but on the average, 2 times per night, that would be nice. Dreaming helps us process and moderate our emotions. That makes sense. A cranky person is not nice. And when you're cranky because you haven't had sleep, you're not very pleasant to be around, and you know who you are. For those who dream about traumatic experiences, believe it or not, you recover more completely than those that don't. So I guess revisiting it or dreaming about it really does help you get through a traumatic experience. And I looked at the list of the most common dreams, and I thought they were actually quite funny, and some of them I can actually relate to. Being chased but not injured, sex, falling, school or studying, arriving late to work, to the airplane, whatever, party, arriving late, flying, failing an exam, paralyzed with fright. I have had that so many times. I can tell you I haven't had that in a while, but paralyzed with fright that's hard because you feel like you're awake and you know it, but you can't. Oh, I just don't want to talk about it. Anyway, being nude in public. Well, that is a nightmare for me. I couldn't even imagine that, let alone dreaming about it. And seeing a living person who's dead in your dream. Those are the top dream topics that people have. That doesn't surprise me. And RISP is a reoccurrent isolated sleep paralysis. Now, it's a frightening experience like we talked about. Paralysis is while awakening, and it's the sensation of a visitor in the room. A demonic visitation is what some people put it like. And I put that up with night terrors. I know it's not a dream, but night terrors and that feeling of paralysis and feeling that someone's looking at you and you're just so certain you're awake, but you're not awake, that is actually a disorder. And it's not necessarily means that you have some demonic present in your room. Though I still believe there was a black mist, but I'm just telling you, there's a little something else out there to think about. Now, here's your sleep and your health. People say all over and over again, you need sleep, you need sleep, you need sleep. Well, this is why. Other than all the things that I've listed that it already takes care of in your body and everything's in sync when you're in rhythm, this is how it goes wrong. All right, so sleep deprivation can actually be fatal, and it's because of everything that shuts down in your body because of this. It crashes a host of bodily functions. It attributes to obesity, heart disease, cancer, dementia, and diabetes. Those are huge. And to combat that, we just need to sleep more. A lack of sleep causes the stomach and other organs to overproduce ghrelin. I'm not even sure how to say it, but it's GHRELIN. And this is the hunger hormone, and this makes you eat more than you need. So if you're not sleeping well, you're overproducing a hormone that's actually making you hungry. So you feel you're hungry, so you're eating more that you don't really need, but that could be combated. You just need to sleep. Not saying that everybody overweight is because they're staying up all night, but I'm saying this is one of those things that you could try to control on your own. Try to control your sleep, and you reduce that hunger hormone that's overproducing for you. And because you're getting this hormone that's making you feel hungry, poor sleep is also connected with dementia and could be an early warning signs of Alzheimer's. And because it makes you lose your memory comes in, it does this funky thing, it gets rid of memories, it stores the important ones, and then it lets out and frees up some room for new memories the next day. All of that stops or shuts down greatly when you don't sleep, and that's so much of dementia and Alzheimer's, and those are the signs of it, is that memory. And sleep is essential, especially now, people, listen to me, especially now for a healthy immune system, your body temp, and your blood pressure. If we all don't need a strong immune system now, I don't know what else to tell you. And the lack of sleep can make you at greater risk for a stroke and some cancers, because if your blood pressure's off and your immune system's off and you get sick, and it's just an array of illnesses that come, some in our body, some we catch, some just you're getting sick from outside stuff. You have to be so healthy internally, and that is just a matter of getting some shut-eye. We really need to focus more on it. And at night, your brain switches from recording to editing. And this is what I was talking about with your memory. You get rid of memories that you can toss, and it actively suppresses the insignificant memories that you got during the day. So that BS that you heard all day, believe it or not, your brain, if you can get into that nice sleep, that rejuvenating sleep, it'll toss them for you. That's why you forget. It was just wasteless information. As they say, anything above a C is wasted knowledge. Memory stages have 3 stages, and this is where it goes into the effects, these other illnesses, these, the dementia. The first step is encoding, and that is momentary experiences are sent to the short-term storage in your brain. So it's like a little storage area, a little rental storage space that's not meant to stay. Consolidation is step 2, and those are your important memories. Those move to long-term residence. They build a home in your brain and are integrated with all the information that you learn. So you have this like short little rental space area, then you have this beautiful residential area, and then retrieval. And that's where you place your memories back to consciousness when you need them. So when you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. That comes from that residential space. You pull it back because your body, your brain felt that was really important knowledge to have. I think that's amazing. That's amazing. And sleeping improves retention of facts from 20 to 40%. I mean, I don't know about you, but trying to remember everything is like, it's not easy. And just sleeping increases that 20 to 40%. Come on, especially if you're a student, you're going to night school or trying to get a degree. Sleep. Okay, here's a big one, hunger. As I said before, that hormone that your body produces that makes you think that you're hungry. This is where obesity comes in. And obesity is a BMI, a body mass index, over 30. And it's also, obesity is connected to type 2 diabetes and heart disease. This is where all of those illnesses are affected by sleep. Now, I'm not saying sleep is the only thing that causes obesity, but it is a lack of sleep is a contributing factor. So if you are healthy with your rhythms, you're lowering your risk of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And sleep is also very much connected to your body's metabolism, including its ability to process sugar. And this is where the type 2 diabetes comes in. Lack of sleep can result in 40% more sugar being processed in your body. 40%, people. That's huge. That's where the type 2 diabetes comes in. Sleep. Your body needs it desperately. Leptin makes you feel full. And this drops with people who lack sleep. So in other words, if you aren't getting enough sleep, your body is overproducing the hormone that makes you feel full and hungry, and underproducing the hormone that makes you feel full. Come on. That's an easy one. You're overeating because your body thinks it's too hungry. In reality, you're probably full, but your hormones, your whole rhythm is just completely off. And that ghrelin, the appetite stimulating hormone, increases. We talked about that. So you don't want that to happen. You want that to just be natural. And that's on a natural sleep cycle. That's on your natural, whatever your natural rhythm is. And believe it or not, I didn't even know this word existed inside the body. Endocannabinoids, believe it or not, cannabinoids. This is a chemical in your bloodstream right now, and this increases and actually gives you the munchies. So cannabinoids, get the same terminology there? That's no coincidence. It gives you the munchies. That increases. So your hormone producing the sensation of feeling hungry increases. The cannabinoids, the endocannabinoids increase in your bloodstream to give you munchies. You see where I'm going with this? You're overeating simply because your body's tired. Go to sleep. Shut your pie hole. Sleep-deprived people eat 300 more calories a day. Think about that. Think about how many more calories that is in a week, in a year. Think about how many more, all of that weight that you could be getting rid of that is simply due to lack of sleep. Now, here is the big one, mental health. Sleep deprivation does great harm to your mental health. Now, if you've ever been around someone who's crabby, they can't make good judgments. They don't even want to make a decision. They can't do anything. It is so deteriorating to your that's all mental health, making poor decisions. That's due to lack of sleep. And again, I'm going to try to say this word, an overactive amygdala, and that is spelled Amygdalae. And that's getting yanked back and forth between positive and negative emotions. That is just getting yanked back and forth over and over and over. It's way overactive because you're not sleeping. So all your emotions from good to positive to negative, you're misjudging, people talking. People could say something out of a joke or be a little sarcastic, and you think they're being nasty or mean. You can even misread facial expressions due to lack of sleep. Someone who's just being silly and doesn't have a smile on their face, kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke, when your judgment's off, you actually think they're being mean. So that's serious mental health. That could start a whole argument that was completely unnecessary just because someone needed to get some sleep. So different things that it happens for lack of sleep with your mental health is insomnia, depression, suicide, anxiety, and bipolar disorders. All of that is affected by lack of sleep. Anxiety, I cannot tell you, even me, I get more now with everything that's going on in the world, anxiety, not debilitating anxiety that some of my friends have, but it does happen. And I have to tell you, after a really good night's sleep, the stuff that really bothered me the day before, I can handle a little better the next day. So, and a lot of people with anxiety have trouble sleeping. So it just is this false circle that you keep going through. Anxiety keeps you awake, which makes you more anxious, and it keeps you awake and makes you more anxious, which goes to taking sleeping pills. They actually, studies show, unless medically told to for whatever reason, don't. First of all, they're addicting. So you're taking all of these sleeping pills to try to go to sleep, and guess what? When you try to not take them, your body doesn't know how to fall asleep without them. So you're in a vicious cycle. So you really do have to try to set yourself up for a really healthy sleep pattern and being able to fall asleep. And 10 tips to sleep better that they say is keep a constant schedule. I know, that sounds a little ridiculous. But if you really try, you can get better at. Let's just say improve, and then make more improvements, and then make more. You don't have to do everything overnight. Again, I think small improvements are still improvements. There's still significant changes, so you could still do that. If you take a nap, time your nap. They say don't nap more than 30 minutes during the day. After that, it starts to affect your nighttime sleep. So if you're going to take a nap, take it in the early afternoon and don't make it any more than 30 minutes, or then you start messing with your rhythm again. Establish a soothing bedtime routine. Take a bath, read a book, meditate. Get your body wound down. No different than if you have kids, you do the same thing. You don't have them run around and play and then say, okay, now hop in bed. It'll never happen. They're too excited. You are no different than you were as a child. You need to get into that routine. We all think we're adults, we're not kids anymore, but in many ways, our sleep cycle, that rhythm, that doesn't change just because we get older. We change it, your body doesn't want it to change. And this is a good one. Use bed for sleeping and sex only. Don't be on your phone, don't be working, don't watch TV. Your body needs to know that bed, that is your happy place for rest. Make it the place you do your thing and then you go to sleep. Not too hard to ask, right? Avoid caffeine and other stimulants before bed. Come on, people. We all know that. Even decaffeinated coffee has caffeine in it. So if you're going to have coffee, after dinner, just be aware of the amount of time between that cup of coffee and you're going to sleep, because for hours after, there's still caffeine in your system. So you need to really intentionally put yourself into that sleep routine. Don't eat a large spicy meal. Okay, obviously it's going to upset your stomach. You're going to have to sit up in bed, and acids. That all affects your sleep. So be responsible about it. Exercise regularly, but don't exercise any later than an hour close to when you start to get into your sleep routine, because your body is so amped up after your workout. You have all this energy. So you don't want to work out and then try to go to bed, because that's just going to make it really, really difficult for you. Expose yourself to bright light in the morning. So when you wake up, don't just try to wake up slowly. Get yourself up and awake, because that helps your routine. It helps get your body and those hormones stimulated to start increase, to then make you aware that you need to go to sleep at night. It's all little tricks you can do on your brain, really. Keep your cool. Now, here's where I love this, but some people may disagree with this temperature. I personally love to be absolutely freezing when I go to sleep, and then only thing I have to do is I snuggle up to Matthew and I wear socks because my feet get freezing. But they say the ideal temperature for you to sleep in to get the max sleep is 60 to 67 degrees. It's so fabulous when you're under the covers like that. And don't toss and turn. If you get into bed, and we've all had this, especially with these stressful times, you get into bed or you just didn't get your rhythm going, and you get into bed and you're still kind of wired, still kind of awake, and you toss and you turn and you just lay there and you try to sleep. It's like watching the lambs, counting the lambs, or just like ticking of the clock. They say actually get up and do something sleepy. Don't get up and exercise, but get up for about 20 minutes. Read a book, do something, keep the lights dim, don't turn all the lights back on. Read a book, do something in sleepy mode for about 20 minutes, and you'll find when you go back to bed, you can actually fall asleep after that. And those are my tips. And I have to tell you one thing that I do, and I'm really big on this. I don't mess with my phone in the bedroom, if at all possible. I actually have an alarm set on my phone from, I think it's 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. I am not going to get one notification, not one ding, not one nothing. That is my sleep time, and my phone is off. Now, if you're part of my favorites, my family, of course, in an emergency, that always comes through. But if I get anybody texts me, calls me, emails me, I will not be notified. I will get the notification after 7 o'clock. My phone starts dinging and everything that built up over the night comes up, but I do not have that light on my phone coming up, and I do not get interrupted during my slumber. And I think that is so huge. So people, it's right there on your phones. Set it for notifications to turn on and turn off at a time that works for you. You can keep the emergencies for your family, friends, kids, whatever it is. But I think that was one of the greatest things I ever did for myself, for making that the place where we get our fun on and go to bed. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next week. This is your Be Kind quote of the day, and of course I try to take a quote that's relevant to what I spoke about, and you can take into your next part of the day. And the future is shaped by your dreams, so stop wasting time and go to sleep. Thank you. Okay, it's Style Secrets time, and I am so excited to bring this to you. Okay, so I'd say if you're a girl, but technically you could be a guy, or a guy identifies as a girl, whatever. If you wear makeup of any kind for any reason, you have dirty makeup brushes. And there's nothing worse than trying to clean your makeup brush and you put it through the cleanser and they really don't get totally clean, and then you gotta let them dry, and it's a whole big to-do. So you kind of avoid it, or you just buy new brushes. Well, let me tell you, I have discovered the black magic of makeup brush cleaning. This is by Morphe, and I got it at Ulta, but I'm sure it's available in Sephora or wherever. And it's a balm. Now, to me, it didn't make sense when I was recommended to get this by the sales girl, but she swore by it, and boy, she knows what she's talking about. So here's this little brush that's on the inside. It's like a little spongy little doodad here, and it's a balm. See, it doesn't drip out. And what you do is you wet your brush, and here's the trick. The black magic is in the lather. So you take your brush and you put it in the balm and you twist it. And you take your wet brush, and the balm can get wet. It's fine. It doesn't seep through. The stuff is like lard, really. And you twist it until it makes a lather. And then once it makes the lather, and you really, really work it in there, work it deep into the brush, get the lather, you rinse it, and it's clean. Now, if it hasn't been clean for a while, you might have to do it twice, but that's all you have to do is wet your brush, twist it in, make sure you get the lather. I cannot stress that enough. The lather is the magic. And I even took this little dimply comb brush thing and twisted my makeup brush onto this just to try to get in there a little bit better. And then just rinse it after each one. So then I would just, any of the wet makeup that was in here, just stick it under the sink, rinse it right out, comes right off. You don't have to wipe it, nothing. I'm telling you, this stuff is incredible. And then on to the next brush. My brushes were clean in record time. They felt fabulous. They were back to that beautiful, beautiful brush in the beginning that you get, that soft, fluffy, furry stuff. You'd never know that they were clean, and they worked the same way. They kept their shape. I have to tell you, I'm a big fan. So my style secret this week is Morph Brush Cleaning Balm. Confidential questions. I love them. Please keep your emails coming. I've gotten so many from all over the US. I am just so excited. You send me ideas, such kind words. Thank you so much. Please keep them coming. You can contact me directly at shannonconfidential007@gmail.com. I love all of my new followers and all my new fans. I am just having the greatest time in the whole world with all of this. And of course, you can follow me on YouTube at Shannon Confidential. You can follow me on Facebook at Shannon Confidential, Instagram at Shannon_confidential. And you can always email me, of course, at shannonconfidential007@gmail.com. And don't forget Apple Podcasts, Shannon Confidential. Thank you, everybody. And if you go to YouTube, please subscribe. That means so much to me. It helps me so much. I'm trying to build a career here with you. Watch me evolve. Just please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it just warms my heart. So thank you, everybody. See you next week.